Public meeting of October 9th, 2024 of the Township of Washington Planning Board. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Board Secretary to at least 2 newspapers on January 15th, 2024, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website.
Thank you, Grace. Salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Grace, roll call.
Mr. Carroll,
Here.
Mr. Murphy,
Here.
Mr. Toole,
Here.
Mr. Toro,
Here.
Mr. Wojnarowski,
Here.
Councilman Ullman,
Here.
Mayor Calamari is absent tonight. Chairman Sabino.
Here.
Let the record reflect also in attendance are Attorney Lou Lamatina and Board Secretary Grace Kalish.
Thank you, Grace. Can you read the public portion?
To participate in the general public portion of the meeting, please click the link on the agenda below and on the website to join the webinar. You will be asked to state your name for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. This public comment portion is only for non-agenda items. Time is set aside later in the meeting to address questions or comments about current agenda items. If you are participating by phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. At the end of the general public portion, no further general questions or comments will be accepted.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to open the public portion?
Motion open. Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's no one here at Town Hall. Is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
No one? Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make that motion. Second. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no new business. Going to old business, resolution PB 24-09, application of Peter Aziz Esquire, representing R&S Prime Properties LLC for a minor subdivision, 680 McKinley Avenue, block 3103, lot 1. Are there any comments on the resolution before it's put to a vote?
Mr. Chairman, I have one quick little page 3 at the top. Proposed lot number 1.02, the southerly Comer lot, should be corner lot there.
Okay.
Other than that, it was perfect.
I also had 2 pages after that. Number 1. That should be the township engineer instead of he. Where's that from? I don't know, the pages aren't numbered, so I think it's page, it's page 5. There we go. Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
Any other comments? Okay. So with that, Grace, if you can make those changes.
I will.
Do I have a motion to approve resolution PB 24-09?
I'll make the motion to approve with the 2 corrections.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. Carroll,
Yes?
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Wojnarowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Chairman Sabino.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, approval of minutes. Are there any comments on the September 11th, 2024 minutes?
I guess, I don't know if it would be appropriate at this point or at the end of the meeting when we discuss any of the topics. But the master plan subcommittee.
Yeah.
And how it will operate. Would that be now or later?
Will we discuss that as under other
Certainly.
topics?
I just had one, Mr. Chairman. It's just a typo here. I think that there should be there. Second page, Grace, last paragraph, middle of the paragraph. the applicant does not object to their a deed.
Yeah.
That's it? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve? Including the one.
I'll approve the minutes of September 11th with the one correction.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Wojnarowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Chairman Sabina.
Yes. Okay. Next agenda item, any board member would like to discuss any topics this evening?
Yes.
Councilman?
So I understand, after, Mr. Lamatino's, explanation of the subcommittee and the structure, and that it is not under the planning board. But I guess my question is, I'm trying to understand how they will interact with us.
Mhm.
What the status of it is, because we had a schedule presented by the planner, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're already behind.
Mhm.
You know, have you, or are we aware of who has the subcommittee been, you know, sort of organized?
Mhm.
And, you know, what is going to be the cadence of their reporting into us? You know, to me, it would seem that they have a large undertaking.
Yep.
And, you know, if it's not under your direction, which it's not clear to me. I mean, I guess the mayor appoints it, but is it under your direction or the mayor's direction? So how is it actually organized, and how does it operate and interface with the planning board?
Yep.
I guess those are the types of questions I have, and you know, trying to figure this out.
Yep. So, great points. So let me try to address them one by one. So there was an advisory committee that was set up, as everyone knows, based on the New Jersey statute that the mayor had the authority to set up this advisory board. The mayor then went and asked several members of both the community and the township to be members of that advisory committee. So as it stands today, it's myself who's chairing the committee, the advisory committee. The mayor's on it. Councilman Sears is on it. Joe Centicase is on it. And the mayor has one additional member that he's contacting to be part of that advisory committee. Second point, we actually had our first meeting this past Monday. And it wasn't it was an introductory meeting just for Joe to lay out the timeline respect to getting the master plan completed over the next 14 months. So if everyone recalls, and I actually asked that question because I thought we were behind, because from the time that the PO was signed and now it's been more than, and unfortunately I don't have the documents with me, it's been more than I think 8 weeks or 9 weeks that Joe had laid out as part of the plan. In Joe's mind, yes, the purchase order was signed in June, but from his perspective, the project did not start until early September. So given that timeline, or given that start date of early September, we're on track. We're on track. And the first deliverable by Joe will be communicated to the advisory committee. Give me 1 second, I'll get that date. On November 8th, Joe will present his phase 1 summary deliverable to the advisory committee. The plan is once the advisory committee provides the comments to Joe, then Joe will then appear before this planning board to provide his findings and get our comments on phase 1 deliverables. So that was the initial plan on how it was all going to work out and how the advisory committee would be governed.
And perhaps, Mr. Lamatina can expand on it. But I thought in the statute that was quoted, there was a restriction that if you were a voting member, you couldn't be part of the subcommittee. I don't know.
I don't recall that part. I didn't recall that. I'm not sure what statute, the statute we talked about for appointment of a advisory committee, I do not remember anything like that in the statute. I could try to look for it. I don't have it with me.
Do you have the reference, the statute reference?
Again, I'd have to go into my computer and look for it. I wasn't prepared to discuss that this evening. It wasn't on the agenda. All I know is that the statute we talked about discussed that it's the mayor's purview to set up any citizens advisory committee. So I don't recall that from what I read in the statute. Chairman might have it. I don't have it handy.
I didn't bring it with me this evening.
Right.
No.
Would that be something you could share with Grace, and if she could forward it to us?
I certainly can. Just make a note. I thought, my recollection that it was shared with everybody. Chairman, do you?
Yeah, I thought so.
It was at our
Well,
last meeting.
There was one specific point, or one specific paragraph, I guess, did that reference the entire statute?
I have the code section, Lou, if you want that.
Yeah, let me just minimize. I'll look at it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I mean, the advisory committee does not have any voting rights. It's the planning board.
My understanding is that you're meeting with him and advising with him and giving him guidance, and then
Yeah.
it's coming back here for final decision.
Yeah.
Like, they're not
Yeah.
making decisions, it's coming here for final thought process, shall
Yeah.
we say.
Understood, but, and perhaps I misinterpreted, or, it was a very brief look I had. I was under the impression that as a member of the planning board, as a voting member of the
Yeah.
planning board, they could not be part of the subcommittee because they're going to be voting on it. So,
Grace, do you have the statute site? I'll look
Yeah,
at it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
40:55D-27.
It's in the minutes.
Yeah.
Under master plan, that second sentence,
That's the code section.
You know,
that's the state code number on it.
well, Lou, if you can't quickly bring it up, maybe we can.
I have it right here. I can read
All
it.
right, perfect.
After the appointment of a planning board, of a planning board, the mayor may appoint one or more persons as a citizens advisory committee to assist or collaborate with the planning board in its duties. But such person or person shall have no power to vote or take other action required of the board. So that would presuppose that the Citizens Advisory Committee was not a member of the planning board. I don't think you can take a planning board's a bit of right to vote away from them if he's on a Citizens Advisory Committee. I do not read it as saying that. I read it as saying that, let's say Joe said a case could not vote with the planning board. But the planning board members can, of course, vote when it comes up for a vote for the master plan.
but does it, I guess the way I had read it is because in this case, Mr. Sabino is a voting member of the planning board, he cannot be part of that subcommittee.
It
That
doesn't.
would go for the mayor, right? Because the mayor,
Yes.
yeah, it'll be both myself and the mayor.
It doesn't say that. The way you're reading it is that this committee should be people other than the planning board members. I don't see it as that
And as I recall, Mr. Burgess said, typically these boards would be members of the planning board and a citizen and perhaps other representatives. So I think Mr. Burgess certainly contemplated that the advisory board would have planning board members on it. That's my recollection.
And I think that's correct.
Yeah, planning, zoning.
Yeah.
Or
In the town, yeah.
Seem to have disappeared here. There we go.
But Mr. Burgess is reporting back to us on a regular basis.
Yes, that's right.
As each step is happening,
That's right.
and then the vote is here.
That's right.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing we talked about was that he would appear before this planning board after every phase. Because of, don't know if you read what happened in TNEC, their planning board completed the whole master plan. And it was then sent to the public and it turned into a big fiasco. And actually, Burgess, Joe represented a couple of developers. And Joe sent one of his representatives to that meeting because the planning board did not consider, developers, I won't say intentions, but their thoughts as part of the master plan. So I'm trying, and we discussed that. I'm trying to avoid that, which is why I've asked Joe at the end of every phase, is it deliverable? And present that deliverable to the planning board for a discussion before a vote is taken.
So looking at it a different way, if this advisory committee did not have anyone from the planning board on it, you'd have the risk of the advisory committee saying, hey, we would like to zone, a zone one way, which is radically opposed to what either the planning board or the mayor and council would do. So you don't want, and it'd be a waste of time because then the advisory committee would basically, it's not my backyard situation. So the committee says, do this, and then it's a waste of time when it gets to the planning board. So again, what Joe Burgess talked about and what makes sense is you have reps from the planning board there to listen and accept feedback and give feedback on a citizen's, or, Joe said a case or whoever else is on that committee on what he or she says to say, well, listen, this is the rationale for doing it this way. What do you say? And listen, and then make those recommendations to the board as a whole. Because it's the board making the decision, not the advisory committee. Hope that makes sense.
Yes.
Councilman, does that answer your questions?
It does.
Okay, thank you. Any other board member have comments? No. The only other topic I want to bring up, hopefully everyone has the draft commercial vehicle ordinance that was prepared by Steve. It would be great if everyone reviews it. And if you do have any comments prior to the next board meeting, which is at the end of the month, provide it to Grace. So when Steve comes to the next planning board meeting, we'll have a good draft to work with versus all the back and forth that went on with the prior draft ordinances.
So you're referencing what was in our packet for the last meeting.
That's right.
Okay.
I can email it out to everyone again, just to make it easier.
I mean, what we could do, Grace, if we can set a date, say by the 15th.
Okay.
So
Comments by the 15th.
Comments by the 15th, they give everyone about a week and a half.
Okay.
So the next board meeting is the 18th.
Sorry, that'll be sent out electronically, right?
Oh.
Yeah, the 23rd. So if we get comments by the 18th,
Okay.
that gives Steve 3 days to address those comments.
Okay.
And Grace, it'll be a PDF you sent out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Does that work?
Yes, yeah. It is, but I'll send it out digitally.
All right. If there's no other comments, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.